This guy is nuts. Is he really making daily recordings of his possible divorce and releasing it as a podcast? They both cheated on each other? She's making 6 figures and still doesn't contribute to any joint endeavors financially? Why is she still with him? Why is he still with her? I can't wait for the next episode. This helps me be a better wife. So this is how men think. I hate my husband less now. I understand my wife more now. These are some of the listener comments to the Divorce Diaries podcast. All over the map, I know. These anonymous accounts of events should resonate with anyone that has been married, is married, or is preparing for marriage, and helps couples avoid pitfalls as they might prepare for marriage. Entire seasons are released on Patreon weeks before anywhere else. At Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Link in description. Now for today's episode.
I found it very interesting because I sat with a couple of ex-spouses, and they both speak to me in a very different way when they are or speaking to me as individuals versus when they are together. And I noticed that uncomfortable situations, massive levels of discomfort, find a way to play themselves out again, even when people have changed. I've noticed that both my ex-brother and sister-in-law, they have made changes in their lives, but they're unable to show the other person that they have made these changes because old habits really die hard. And I remember when I was at one of my kids' sporting events, my soon-to-be ex, as you're listening to this, she will be my ex-wife. She comes and she sits next to me, and I have my same level of angst that I used to have. I am worried. I am anxious. I am sad. I am fearful. I am apprehensive about what's coming. I've got that anxiety and depression kind of thing going on and feeding each other. And I watched my soon-to-be ex-sister-in-law she wasn't the more soft, demure version of herself that was agreeable in nature like she is when she speaks to me. I watched her become this sharp, crass, hurt, guarded, and defensive individual as she was addressing her ex-husband across from me. We're all kind of sitting at the bar. She's on my left, he's on my right. And the way that she spoke to him, I'm like, wow, I haven't heard her speak like this in a very long time. I haven't seen her speak this way. And I'm like, man, I know that she's made a lot of changes. She's had a lot of personal growth in her therapy and things like that. But I still watched her become the defensively sharp person that she's used to being with and in the presence of her ex-husband. So I'm wondering, as I've heard Richard Cooper, Entrepreneurs in Cars, he says, hey, once you take the trash out and the trash is on the curb, you don't go rummaging through that shit. Once you take out the trash, you don't go looking through it. So that's one thing that I could say maybe with the two of them. Do you go through the trash? You guys are already divorced. Should you go back down this road? I know people that have been married and remarried to each other more than once. Like, yeah, I've been married 4 times, but twice was to the same person because it's familiar. So that's why you came back or come back to that relationship. It's so interesting. You haven't cursed anyone out in years, but the last person that you cursed out, or the person that you've been used to cursing out, fussing at, screaming at, publicly dressing down, is your ex-spouse. So as soon as you get around them again, boom, the old habits creep right back in, and you're ripping your ex a new one verbally. You don't do that in any other situation with any other person in any other circumstance, but the old habits creep right back in. It was very interesting. And I know, aside from everything that I had going on with my ex, and everything that I had going on with my ex, I would never consider going back through this trash. Granted, my trash is different. There isn't just, sort of bad blood because there are bad acts that have been done. Oh, this person cheated on that person. I'm not trying to downplay it. Cheating is a very big deal, and it's really dark, and it's toxic. But when someone goes as far as to think they are entitled to things that they didn't earn, like, I'm going to take half your retirement. It's like, but I haven't done anything to warrant that. And you've liquidated 2 of your retirement accounts and you didn't even tell me that you did. Or you're actively talking to my kids to try to divide us behind my back. This is very, very interesting behavior, and very dark behavior, very frustrating behavior. And that it doesn't leave any room for us to actually be able to reconcile anything, because you are a very dark, toxic, hurtful, harmful person that doesn't mean anyone well and only looks out for themselves. So there's no reconciliation. My garbage has been taken out, and I have no desire ever to, I'm going to be honest, this may sound dark, maybe rough, but I have no desire to ever see my wife or speak to my wife again. I was just served with the divorce papers, which is just very interesting, reading what someone wants from you. Someone wants to, literally, they're saying they want to take half of your things. They want to say, I've been abusive and harassing children. And it's like, what? Is it, how is that real when after we separated, our living conditions, after our living conditions, we separated, you actually came over to my new place and hung out. You told the kids that you were leaving and going to work, but actually you were coming to my house. We went and watched football games together at a bar and had drinks 3 times. We met up for morning coffees. I met you at your job and drove you when you had to park a little bit farther away from your from your job. It's the lies that you've told have been dark, have been deceptive, have been harmful, have damaged the relationships that I've had with my children. You've talked with them behind my back about high school breakups. You told them about me getting a girlfriend and having a girlfriend in the context of I cheated on you, but we were broken up. You didn't say that part, and you also didn't say anything about how you ghosted me and you got another boyfriend, but you didn't ever break up with me, which was definitely cheating. It's just very interesting watching someone move a certain way. Watching someone that you took vows with willingly, happily breaking all of them. So just reading a divorce decree and final documents, it feels really good because it frees you, because you know that you're making the right decision not getting back with this person. And I'm going to always be walking on eggshells, feeling fearful, hurt. And you don't want to, if you can't control your emotions, if you can't slip back into the past it's really difficult. It's really difficult to try to find a way to heal when even being around that person in physical proximity sends you back to a version of yourself that you don't like. So I don't know. Do more work on yourself. That's the advice that I'm going to give to my sister-in-law. Do more work on yourself so you can find a way to not be triggered by that person's presence, because you two could be changed people that tend to revert to unhealthy behaviors and reactions when you're back together again.
Wow, that was the Divorce Diaries podcast. The Daily Saga will continue tomorrow. The full season's episodes are on Patreon now. Subscribe for early access. Click the Patreon link in the description. Hopefully these entries help our anonymous recorder as a form of his own personal therapy. That's his hope and his intention. Will these recordings of life's curveballs lead this family to the best resolution in the end? we'll keep listening. New episodes are released daily on all podcast players, but all episodes are available on Patreon at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Until next time.